Okay, for one more time, let us listen to the bell and make ourselves come to the present moment. Thank you, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to our afternoon session. And it's glad to see you all to be here with us on our monthly gathering. And so, in this afternoon, we are going to talk about a very special topic. As you know, that February is the month that we all talk a lot about love. So today we will have our talk around that theme, but at the same time we have also prepared a special gift for you, something very special inside this envelope, and everyone will get that gift today as something they can bring home and then stick in your home, and then you can use as a reminder of what you learned, and also a reminder of the true meaning of love. So you can bring it home and make it yours, and then and we will also have a short demonstration of how you going to stick it. Because it's very delicate, you know. This stick is very delicate. Okay, so our topic today is foundations of love. So today our focus is to understand not only the love, but also what are the real foundations underneath the love, what we really have to have in order for us to have a real, true sense of love. You know, so love doesn't exist by itself, it needs other supporting factors. So we want to talk about what are the causes and conditions, and what are the underneath factors that can help to sustain a deeper form of love. So when you talk about love, actually the English word love can have so many meanings, and it can mean so many things, from a very mundane level of emotion all the way to a spiritual level of quality. So I want to make sure that you know what we really mean by the love here. So, for example, in Pali language, we have different terms to refer to different types of love. In English also we have words like affection, right? And what are they? Like romance. And what else? What are the other words that go with the love?
Caring.
Caring, yes. Yeah, and emotional attachment, sometimes emotional bond. So I mean, we can use to so many words, but in normal usage, we use the term love to mean so many things. So it can be really confusing sometimes what we really mean by the term love. You know, so I had a class yesterday with children in Cleveland. When I talked about the term love can mean so many things, and the one boy told me that yes, sometimes we say I love chicken, So when you say I love chicken, and if you really love, you should eat them, right? But when you say I love chicken, what he means is actually he likes to eat them, right? So that's a real, it's a real love, right? So I think they understood that meaning, they were saying that, this can be so confusing. So it's interesting, so sometimes you also I love fish, right? So it's not really real kind of love. Therefore, we really have to make sure, what we really mean by the term the love. Yeah. So there are many types of love actually we experience in our life. There can be, mostly we can have parental love, right? And what kind of other love? Can you give me any few suggestions?
Romantic.
Yeah, romantic love, definitely. And that's one we focus most of the time on Valentine's Day, right? Romantic love and parenting love. What else?
Friendship.
Yeah, friendly love. Yeah, and then
Agape love.
yeah, that's the kind of higher form of love, right? Agape love. I will come to that. Yeah, a little far ahead. So, romantic love, parenting love, and friendly love among friends. And how about siblings? You have a sister, right? You love your sister? Yes. So, what we call siblings? The love among siblings, because that's a little complicated love, right? Yeah, competition and still love, and so it's kind of very complex form of love there. And also, and how about like sometimes love for the country, love sometimes patriotic love. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you, David. So there are various different forms of love actually. But today, what I want to discuss is actually there is a mature form of love. Of course, romantic love, parenting love, all these forms of love can be, are really part of our life. But, as um, practitioners, we should understand there is a more mature, more higher form of love, as you say, more like agape, form of love. And we need to understand. In Pali language, actually, we have a special term for that. So what we call it, metta, right? Metta. When you say metta, it doesn't mean romantic love. It doesn't mean parenting love. It doesn't mean patriotic love. All these forms of love are good, but there are limitations to all this, and there are limitations. Those loves are limited in certain point of view. But when you say metta, it's completely different form of love. And there are other terms in Pali language also to refer to like more other forms of love. For example, parenting love. And in fact, actually, my name, the term Pema means actually affection. And that's the name that my master decided to give me. So it's not like Metta, of course, Bhante Metta got the real good name. This is Metta. So the term Metta is like a higher form of love, unconditional kind of love. I got very restricted. The term Pema. But my master made sure that my name is not only Pema, my full name is Pemaratana. Pemaratana. And then Ratana means triple gem or three jewels. What are the three jewels? What are the triple gem? The Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So when you put these two terms together, the Pemaratana, and that means actually affection for the triple gem. So again, you kind of make it a little bit higher because of the second term. So he made sure that my affection is for the triple gem and not for anyone else. Right? So the triple gems. So what we are going to talk today is actually more like that kind of mature love, the love that we refer to by the term metta. So it's important to understand that actually there is this kind of higher form of love available for us. Because sometimes, all the other forms of love, romantic, parenting, all kind of love, can be a little complicated and can be a little tiresome sometimes, and they require a lot of effort to maintain those forms of love, and it can be tiring, definitely, and of course, sometimes we can be disappointed also. So it's very important for us to understand that there is a higher form of love. Actually, we can still rely on. And so today we talk about that. What is that form of love, and what are the conditions that help us to maintain such a love. And so when we think about the term metta, and actually the metta actually comes from the very root of the word mitta, which means a friend. So it can have a sense of friendliness, but more like unconditional kind of friendliness, like friendliness towards everyone. And there are two aspects to this quality, this mature love, what we call metta. One is it is more like willingness, willingness for everyone to be well. So it's more like an inner wish that you carry all the time, a wish, a willingness, a wish for well-being, willingness that everyone be well. So that's the kind of and we also have a nice word for that, what we call goodwill, right? So what do you really mean when you say goodwill? Goodwill, yes.
Well, I think it's a concern and a regard and a respect for others.
Others, right?
Wishing them well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the one aspect of metta is that aspect of goodwill, the wishing of benevolence, and willing, that having this willingness for others to be well. The other aspect is like it's not restricted. It's not restricted. It's not to selected people. It's like whoever we meet, and to us without any boundaries. So two elements to this. One is this inner wish of well-being and this willingness, this goodwill. The other one is a boundless nature, limitless nature, and no boundaries for that. And that's the form of love. Actually, we all are capable of, but we have it as a skill, but we need to develop it. Yeah. So that kind of love you can actually maintain, irrespective of who is the person, and we just and understanding this metta as a goodwill or a willingness for others to be well or wish of well-being is important, because sometimes our challenge is is when you understand love. Our challenge is whether we can actually maintain such a love towards everyone. I remember I read somewhere a nice quote saying that, and if you really want to understand the real meaning of love, and you start loving the one that you don't like, and then you will understand. So if you start loving the person you don't like, and you know how difficult it's going to be. But when you understand, and so we have challenging. It's challenging that whether we can really have such a friendliness, such a wish of well-being towards everyone. When you understand love in a sense of embracing, in the sense of embracing or emotional attachment, and it's very hard for us to have such kind of love towards the people who are doing things that we can't agree on. But when you understand this higher form of love as a goodwill, as a form of wish of well-being, and we can maintain such a love even to the people that we are not agree with, right? There can be people who are doing very unskillful thing, unbeneficial thing, to themselves and to others, right? And we really cannot agree with them at all. But can't we radiate our love in the higher form, like as a form of goodwill towards them? Yeah, and wishing them well-being, wishing them whatever goodness doesn't mean that we agree with them. We can completely disagree with them. We will not condone what they are doing, but we still can keep wishing well-being to them, right? So when you understand love in that form, and nobody is going to prevent you from keeping and maintaining your love. That doesn't mean that you're going to go and embrace everyone and going to agree with everyone's decisions and behaviors. But you have this genuine wish of well-being towards anyone. So even to the people you think that are doing terrible things, but still we can maintain a wish for them to be well, right? To be safe and to be happy. And if they are really happy inside, they will not do those horrible things in the first place also, right? So we can maintain such a wish. So it's important to understand that element of this love. And when you maintain such a thing, actually, whenever you go, actually, you get this opportunity to practice this, to develop this, to express this to anyone you meet. Because you, as a human being, you have a genuine wish for anyone you meet to be safe, anyone we meet to be well. I think we all have that wish. We don't like anyone, even any stranger, to get into troubles, right? And we don't like anyone, driving along this road today to get into troubles, right? Do we like them to get into trouble today? No, we don't, right? But instead, what we like them to be then? We like them to be safe. We like them to be well, and that's the kind of inner wish we all have. But it's very, very passive. It's kind of silent, kind of dormant. But actually, we can tap into that quality inside of us and make it more vibrant, more active. And that's what we are doing actually when we talk about this mature form of love. So when you really understand that this inner wish is there, but and this is simply a goodwill, wish of well-being to everyone, and it's kind of available within us, but we just need to grow it. So whenever you meet anyone in your life, even the strangers, and you get an opportunity to express it or to develop your own skill inside. It's very important that we can do it all the time. Even gentle smile and gentle, exchange of words. Even very simple moments of greeting, can be a really good opportunity for us to do that. I read an interesting story about a woman. An incident happened in a shopping mall, in a shopping market. One lady, actually, she lost her husband recently, and then when she went to the supermarket, and she began to see the things that her husband liked, and she has all the memories of the husband. So first she entered the market. She saw yellow roses, all the big bucket of yellow roses, and that's the kind of roses that she liked the most. And she remembered, how her husband used to buy those roses. So she stopped at that bucket for a while, and but she didn't have any idea to buy it, and then she passed it and went to the other places. So when she was putting things in her cart, and she saw another lady came to the ice cream section and opened the ice cream and took a big, what do you call big? Tub. Yeah.
Gallon.
A big gallon of ice cream and put in her cart. And after a while, actually, she came back and put the can back in the shelf, in the cabinet. And then she was still standing there looking at the gallon. So the other old lady noticed it. And she actually, so she approached her and asked, are you not going to buy this? And then she told her that actually, this is the kind of ice cream that my kids love the most. But I'm not sure actually, given the price, whether I can really, want to buy it. And then this lady thought that this is a good time, a good opportunity for me to really, do a good deed. And she told her that actually, I'm willing to pay for you. So please take the whole, not only 1 gallon, a few gallons for your children, and I will pay for it. And my husband passed away a few years ago, and he also likes this kind of ice cream, so I won't do it in the name of my husband. So she was so happy, and she took the ice cream, and then she was doing other shopping, and then after a while, and she made sure that she paid for all this ice cream, and then they departed. And after a while, she heard that somebody is running towards her, and she turned and she heard that the same lady, the mother who brought ice cream, is running towards her with three yellow roses in her hand, and came to her that this is for you. Thank you for your kindness. I just want to buy something for you. This was cheap, and so this is for you. And three yellow roses. And this lady was thinking, how come did she know that I like the yellow roses? Whether it's a coincidence or not, but it somehow really touched her heart, and then she makes sure to buy her favorite yellow roses and give her back. So this is like very simple incident happen, but these moments are the moments actually kind of grow our the mature form of love, and then enable us to really experience it with anyone else, and also helping us to keep our life meaningful and keep our life. It's more like the life of the life worth living, right? And then experience of that deeper form of love. So we can have so many such opportunities. I'm not going to ask you to buy ice cream for anyone. You can buy ice cream, but there could be many similar opportunities for us to really if you have that genuine wish of well-being, carrying it with you all the time, and then and when you meet so many people that will benefit from that, and it's not it can be it can be contagious too, right? It can create a ripple, go all the way, and then they can also start helping others too. So that's the kind of love that we are talking here. So that genuine wish of well-being and goodwill and towards everyone, maintaining such a friendly mind towards anyone we meet, anyone we encounter. So that's a great love to have, and that's what we call metta. And important thing to understand, this is a form of love that is actually a skill. Understanding love as a skill is also very important understanding as a skill, because we tend to understand love as an accident, right? And I mean, when we think about romantic love, I mean, we just happen to have met our perfect partner, whoever, and whoever has some chemistry. So we tend to understand love as a kind of accident, and also that's why we have the term falling in love, right? Falling in love. It's not something you can consciously cultivate to do, but actually, it just have to happen, right? So if you're lucky, yes, it will happen. You will fall in love. But actually, to understand this higher form of love as a skill is very important. It's the skill that we can actually grow. And when you understand this form of love as a skill, and we can actually switch so many things. So usually when we understand love as an accident and we are a recipient, we are waiting and looking for some love to occur, love to happen, right? And then waiting for someone to come and tell us, I love you. Or even like waiting for our children to come and tell us, I love you, right? Waiting for some others to come and tell you. So we are kind of recipient and waiting to hear that, right? So but when you understand love as a skill and something that we can grow, so instead of being a recipient of love, actually we can be a person who actually embodies the love, right? And then it's not like waiting for someone to tell us, I love you, but someone who actually cultivating this skill and then start to share with others. So, okay, I also have another story for that. It's a story of a small girl. I read this story about a small girl actually who loves flowers so much. She loves flowers so much, and then she always, look for flowers. Whenever somebody want to give her present, she will ask for flowers. And she actually got an uncle who actually worked in a flower shop. And this uncle used to bring her flowers, like about once a week, and she's so happy that she was waiting for her uncle to come and give her flowers. And different days he bring different kinds of flowers from the flower shop. But after a while, this flower shop business went down, and then they didn't have extra flowers, so her uncle couldn't actually come frequently. And then one day, this little girl was actually waiting outside and looked so sad. And her grandfather came and asked her, why you look so sad today? And she explained that my uncle used to bring me flowers. I love those flowers. I decorate my house with that. And now I don't get flowers. Today is the day I usually he bring me flowers, but today I'm not going to get any flowers. So I'm very sad. And then grandpa told her, my dear girl, why don't you start a garden of flowers? So you don't have to wait your uncle to bring you flowers. You can actually start a garden of flowers. So the grandfather gave her instruction and helped her to start a garden of flowers at home. So actually she started a very small garden and she planted the kind of flowers she liked. And then, after a while, these plants grew up and it started to give flowers, and she actually made it the garden bigger and bigger. And after a while, actually, she stopped waiting for his uncle to come and give her flowers. Instead, she has the garden full of flowers for her, and she was able to like decorate her own house, and also she started to give away those flowers who will come to home. So this is the difference I see. You can be a little girl waiting, opening in the door and waiting for the uncle to come and bring her flowers to be happy, or you can be the girl who actually grow her own garden of flowers and enjoy the flowers and also start giving it away. That's the difference. So that's the form of love you want to develop. So it's more like a skill, and it's so we don't have to rely so much on others, so to speak. Of course, we can benefit others, but it's more like developing this inner strength within us, inner skill of wishing well-being and then always sharing it with anyone we meet. So then what's going to happen is that when you understand love as a skill, something that's always available, something that we can grow, and the whole concept of love will be different. So we will be not afraid of guarding and protecting the love. Because most of the time when you understand love as an accident and something that other people give us, you become so protective. And you become so fearful of losing it. And that can create all kind of other problems in a relationship also. Right? And you completely depend on that. So it's something, is related to fear and then the fear of losing it. But when you understand love as a skill, you don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to worry about giving it to anyone because you are not really going to lose anything, so to speak, when you start to give it, right? And the more you give, the more you develop the skill. So you become fearless in when it comes to love. Understand it as a skill. Very fearless. And you're not afraid of losing it. You're not afraid of giving it. Because it's a skill, so you can grow. So we become so free in that sense. So that's the kind of love actually we want to develop. But then, now we have to focus actually how we can actually maintain such an unconditional form of love, such a sense of well-being, such a wish of goodwill. How we can actually maintain such a love? There are important conditions we need to provide in order for us to maintain such a love. So I'm going to talk about them, or what I call foundations of love. What are the other qualities that we need to maintain such a love in our life. And so I would like to talk about few foundations, what the foundations that we can have, important one, very important foundation. In order for us to maintain this kind of love, the first condition we need, we can call it wisdom, actually a deeper understanding of human mind. A deeper understanding of human mind. If we have such understanding, we can easily maintain a mature form of love. What I mean by deep understanding of human mind is actually understanding that our human mind is actually a collection of habits. Understanding that human mind is in the process, is not like a finished product, is a process. And so in that sense, the human mind can also have all forms of weaknesses and also strengths. Right? So in Buddhist understanding, we call it, the Buddha said that everyone who is not enlightened is actually driven by their defilements. So it's very common for us to have defilements. And so it's very common that we have negative patterns of thinking. So understanding that any human mind is possible of having unskillful thoughts. And until we attain enlightenment, it is very common for anyone to have certain patterns that may not be really helpful or beneficial, may not be pleasant. So understanding that and then you can also use that understanding to understand one's mind also. So deeper understanding of human mind is that our human mind is not a perfect thing actually. It has so many strengths and skills we need to develop, but it also has other weaknesses and defilements. And then, of course, that's the Buddhist understanding that our mind is vulnerable to have defilements, and we have in our life we have developed what we call unskillful habits, and we are creatures of habits, right? And so it's very common, very normal that people will have their own habits based on their upbringing, based on what they went through in their life, right? And if we have very very difficult experience in the childhood, we may have certain habits that may not be really pleasant. So everyone is vulnerable to have those kinds of habits. So we need to understand that that's the nature of human mind. So we can't really expect others to be really perfect and nice all the time because they are struggling. They are they are going through their own difficulties with their own baggage of habits they have got from their childhood. In the Buddhist explanation, even from their previous lives, we can have certain habits that are coming along with us for a long time. So having that understanding is very important, deep understanding human mind. And of course, we can also get help from neuroscience. Now, of course, neuroscience is telling us that we also have what you call neuro predisposition. And there are certain patterns in our life, what you call neurodispositions, through the process of evolution, there are certain traits and habits that we kind of got from our ancestors, which are not really adaptive, so to speak, which are not really nice. For example, we have this habit of focusing on the threats and the imperfections, right? Our mind is very good in that. So we have got that traits, and so because being aware of the threat, it can help us to survive more. So therefore, we have this habit of always looking for the imperfections and the threats and then a negative part. So we call it negativity bias. So we all have negativity bias in that sense. So everyone is having it, right? So understanding this is something that we inherited from the process of evolution is important. And then, so that can help us to develop. And also the other one, actually, we can also have a habit of getting used to good. Yeah, I mean, so when we encounter goodness in some people, we feel going to live with that person for a while. After a while, we get used to the good, and then we start look for the imperfections. We take the good things for granted. So getting used to good is also another, neurotic predisposition. And of course, and so there are so many other things. So we need to understand a person as a product of his or her history, and things have come to that person from childhood, from previous lives, and from our ancestors. And our human mind is this very fragile thing. It's not really, it's moving and it's changing. So it's common that anybody can have such weaknesses. And so that doesn't mean that we have to be stop right there. We can really come out from that. We can really grow ourselves, and we can help others to grow. But having that deep understanding, it is helping us to keep our mature love without really losing it. So whenever we see any weakness, any misbehavior, any unskillful speech of a certain person, so instead of developing resentment towards that person, maybe we can refer to, oh, that is the nature of human mind. That's the nature of human mind. Of course, we can go beyond that, but that's how that person. Everybody is victims of their own habitual patterns. It is not easy to really come out. You really need to come and meditate like this to come out of your negative habits. So instead of developing resentment, and instead of developing more like a personalized blame for that person, we can have more general, deep understanding that this he's a victim of his own habits, own patterns. So when you do that, and what's going to happen is that you can actually the second you can develop the second foundation, what I call acceptance, and deep acceptance. And first is a deep understanding of human mind. We really need to have more understanding of human mind from a Buddhist psychology point of view, and also from the evolutionary point of view, and then understand this is how, and that can also help us to then have more like an acceptance, and then accepting people's misbehavior, whatever, and then of course we can help them to go beyond that, but at the same time not losing our goodwill, not losing our visual well-being, more like developing more kind of empathy, right? And then we know it is possible we can help them to overcome that, but not losing our own goodwill, yeah. So that's important. So acceptance, and then of course that can also help us to develop. Acceptance is not only for others, remember, also for oneself. So the very important element of this, the love, that we call the foundation of love, is called, what we can call it, a self-love, or accepting oneself first, and deeper, forgiving oneself, so to speak. It's very important to understand ourselves also, not in the sense of I am the one doing everything for me, to understand that I am a product of my conditionings I had around me, and there's no really strong agent here. But of course I can grow beyond this, but not to put the self blame on us. If we start to blame ourselves, and that can be the same habit that we will also start to blame others too. So self-love is a very important foundation, second foundation. First one is deep understanding human mind, what we call wisdom. Second one is acceptance, like accepting the people as they are, not really thinking that they will stick right there, they can grow, but having that acceptance. And then, of course, directing it towards oneself and have that self-love. And then not really putting the blame on us. And when you have this really deep self-love, we will also be able to really manage our emotions. And Buddha said that if you really love yourself, you will never have anger towards anyone. Because whenever we have anger towards anyone, no matter who is the object of the anger arises in our own mind. So if we really truly love ourselves, we should be really careful and protecting our mind, because anger is not helpful, it's not healthy. It can really, generate all kinds of emotions and also, hormones that can really, be unbeneficial for us. So having that and so we will also make more effort to manage our emotions, and then try to, develop more understanding and mindfulness to manage our emotion, and then that can really help us to maintain our love. So important is actually accept oneself and have that self. Bless you. Yes. And then so because this doesn't mean that accepting or having self-love doesn't mean that we become complacent in our spiritual practice. We can stop practicing it. But actually, first, to understand oneself with all our weaknesses, all our failures, and also recognizing the strengths also, and then have that genuine wish of well-being towards oneself, and have that. So, and that is why in loving kindness meditation, most of the time we start with ourselves first. So that's the foundation. And if we don't, so most of the time we have this. When it comes to ourselves, we have this all kind of two parts in us. One part that we like, we adore, we always like to talk about, we like to present to others. There's the other part of us we want to hide, we hate it, we suppress it, right? And so we have almost like a division in us, right? Certain part of us is we like to share with others, other parts we don't like to share with others. Sometimes we don't like the way we look or whatever. So the self-love is actually going beyond that purification, going beyond that barrier. First, we really have to accept, who we are, and then have acceptance, and then self-love, and also making a determination, I will change whatever, unhelpful behaviors and patterns. I will change, but right now, I just first need to accept and be okay with this, and then move forward from there. And that self-love is the foundation for us to love for anyone else. So, so I told you how many foundations now. First one is wisdom. The second one, acceptance. The third one, just now, you can say self-love. I mean, it's part of it, but more like a self-love. And the last one I would like to call it actually, which is the foundation of all of our spiritual practice. You can call it self-reflection, but application of mindfulness. Application of mindfulness is the skill that enables every other virtues to grow. And in this case, mindfulness as a form of self-reflection. Because when we have that, self-reflection, and whenever we deal with others, we can detect actually our appearance of our defilements. You can call it ego, right? In any conversations, and if you have that element of self-reflection, you can see the emergence of, ego, even like emergence of judgments, emergence of discriminations, and all kinds of things. Actually, I read in the neuroscience, actually, whenever we meet someone, like maybe the person we haven't met earlier, and our brain is wired to make a very quick judgment of that person, whether to approach this person, whether to avoid this person. And it says that actually it only takes 30 milliseconds for us to decide whether I want to approach this person or I want to avoid this person. So in 1 second, how many milliseconds in 1 second? 1,000, right? That's called milli, right? So it takes only 30 milliseconds for us to make that judgment. See how fast we are doing it. So without even knowing the person, it's a very quick judgment. We do it. So that's amount of time we take. Like whenever somebody like a stranger comes to us, whether to talk to him or that smile with him or to avoid him, based on whatever appearance, whatever our previous experiences. But I think we can even change this with our own practice. And then so that is unconscious, right? So that's something that for the strangers. But even if we happen to like meet others, without our knowing, there can be so many categorizations, so many judgments, so many things we may be doing in our mind. Like that's why I told you, when we hear the coronavirus, we only get the fear most of the time, and then we start like have all kinds of judgments and discriminations about certain kinds of people. Yeah. So self-reflection is so helpful for us to like detect all these like unconscious judgments occurring in us, and sometimes prejudgments we make on certain people without really getting to know them. So that self-reflection is helpful to like detect them and then not really trust them most of the time. And because now we are living in a very different world. Of course, our ancestors lived in a world with different kind of tribes. If you don't really make a good judgment, in that tribes, the people will come and kill you, maybe bring you for a sacrifice, right? And really have to make a good judgment. But now we are living in a different society, right? And different, different stage in our human evolution. We don't want to have that kind of precaution, right? But of course, we need to really have a discernment. We really have to have discernment. But I'm not asking you to go around and embrace everyone you meet in the street. But be reflective of this. These judgments coming as a result of our genetic, our what we get from ancestors, and also what we got from our own upbringing, whatever, So be attentive to those things appearing, and then don't let those preconceived notions to prevent us from maintaining our love, maintaining our unconditional love. So that's self-reflection of mindfulness. So I think the 4 foundations, we talked about 4 types of foundation that can help us to maintain agape type of love, the kind of mature kind of love, this goodwill, and deep understanding human mind, what we call wisdom, and then acceptance, of people as they are, not really moralizing their actions all the time. We want everybody to be right, and sometimes people want everybody to drive, right, in the road. If somebody is driving a little bit off, you have your horn pressed very hard, right? It's very moralizing attitude, right? And of course, people need to drive, carefully. But when you have this moralizing attitude, you can't endure any kind of little bit, change. And you become so angry with that. So, but acceptance is more like giving some room for people to do some mistake. Not serious mistake, but giving some room for people for their weakness. Of course, helping them to get rid of them also, but having that attitude of acceptance, not getting hurt. Looking at other people. If you have such a moralizing attitude, you're going to see so many wrong things of people, and your mind is always being conflict. That's not going to be helpful. So acceptance is a very important part of that. And then we talk about self-love, directing that towards oneself. And sometimes we are very good in forgiving others, but not ourselves, right? We can forgive others, we can accept others, but when it comes to ourselves, we are so hard on us. And that's not helping us too. Even to love others, right? Very hard on us, demanding so much from us. And then developing self-hate as a result of that, because we can't meet those big demands. And having that kind of compassion, more acceptance of oneself is very important. And the last one is self-reflection, reflecting on the unconscious appearance, unconscious emerging of all different kinds of judgments and categories and preconceived notions. So watching them and being aware of them is so helpful for us to not necessarily believe them and go beyond them. Yeah. So I hope that this is the form of love that we need to develop. And when you develop such love, actually, if you maintain such a goodwill, imagine that if you have these four foundations, it's very difficult for anyone or any incident to prevent you from having such a goodwill, right? You can see so many not right things, but that will not really destroy your love. You can still maintain it over that, right? It's like sailing through the water, right? There can be huge waves, but you know how to sail through it, not really stopping your love. And if you maintain such a love all the while, and that can develop such a strong skill within us, such a strong positive energy with us. Remember, I told you it only takes 30 milliseconds for someone to decide whether to talk to or not. It's happening very unconscious level. It's not happening in the rational mind. It's happening in the different level of relationship. And when you develop such a love constantly, nobody will feel you threatening. Anybody you meet, because you maintain such a love, you develop such a positive energy around you. No animals will be afraid of you. No dogs will come and bark at you, and people may not feel threatened by you, and people feel like coming and talking to you, and they find comfort in to talk to them, right? And one Bhante, one monk actually shared his story with me. He was flying. He was waiting in the airport and waiting for his flight, and then suddenly some person was looking at him straight, from a distance, and he thought, oh, maybe I'm wearing a robe, so I'm like, look different, so he kind of staring at me, and then so he ignored him, and after a while he saw that he actually slowly moving towards him. And then he looked at that person is slowly moving, and then he tried to like smile with him, but this person is like flat face and moving little bit closer, and he started to smile bigger and bigger and bigger. Really. But this person keep a very straight face and keep coming towards him, and he got a little bit concerned what's going to happen. It doesn't look friendly, but it's keep coming towards me. And when he come towards him, he feel like he's little shivering a little bit. And then suddenly he grabbed his hand, and now he's really afraid, what's going to happen. And suddenly he told him, can you pray for me? So completely stranger, he didn't even remember to smile because I think he's going through such a difficult time. But whenever he saw this monk, completely stranger to him, but somehow he felt that I can ask this monk to pray for me. He didn't feel threatened by him. He didn't feel embarrassed to open himself to that monk. He just feel like coming close to him. Because, hopefully the monk did run away when he was coming towards him without, even smiling. But, that's the kind of, energy you will develop as a result of, maintaining such a goodwill, such a mature form of love in us. People feel comfortable to be with you. People become open in front of you. That's the kind of wholesome energy we develop. Don't we want to be such people in the world, right? And who will find comfort with us, The one time Buddha said that there's a statement of the Buddha, be like a tree along the roadside where so many people travels. At the time of the Buddha, many people walk in their journey, so there were huge banyan trees from different spots along the road, really huge trees with a lot of shade. And so people, whenever they are walking along that road, whenever they get tired, and they can actually sit under that tree. And with the shade, they can drink something, or the birds, everyone is in that tree. So everyone finds so comfort, and they're looking for such a tree when they are making their journey. And of course, they're not going to stay there for long, but they will simply rest under that tree for a while and get some energy, and they come to their work. And Buddha said that, be like that tree. Be like a banyan tree along the way. So that's how we can be in our lives. So I wish that we all, develop these, foundations of love and have a mature form of love in your life. And remember, it is something we can grow, and so we can keep growing. Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so time for discussion. And any question and clarification you want to ask? Any experience you'd like to share? Yes.
Question.
Yes.
The mindfulness and the self-reflection that
Yeah.
you're talking about as one of the four foundations, is that the same as Yoni Samani Sakara?
Yeah, thank you, David, for that question. Actually, yeah, we have a term called Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara is more like an active analysis of the thoughts that's occurring. Of course, there's the application of that here, because whenever we see a person, automatically there will be a thought come to us, and what we are doing is watching that thought coming is mindfulness, and analyzing that thoughts is called yoniso manasikara. We call it wise reflection. It's difficult to translate, but actually analyzing the very origin of the thought is called yoniso manasikara. It is related actually, yeah. So, but we apply that even beyond in the love, but more like really understanding our defilements, and then that's towards the enlightenment.
Yeah.
Technique, yes, very important technique. Very important technique. Being able to analyze our own thoughts, not in the way of self-blaming, but very objective analysis. How this defiling thoughts arose in me right now. What are the conditions and what are the, so you analyze the whole makeup of that thought, and then you can deconstruct it in the very process of analyzing it. Thank you. So, okay, any other sharing and thoughts? Anybody happen to have paid for ice cream in your life? Any such experience you'd like to share? Yes.
What's the difference between kind generosity and like homeless people? When you see them on the highway asking for money, and I usually give them money. I can stop, but I always have very mixed feelings about that.
Yeah.
If I should do that, if it's actually helping them.
Helping them, or not, yeah. That's a good question. It's a very practical question. I mean, nowadays I live in Philadelphia in my weekdays. Recently I got this experience. I'm meeting so many people, who will ask money, who will ask some help. Yes. It's a very good question, about whether giving them something can it really help them or not, right? And I think this is a big problem. The meeting a homeless person is something that we encounter, but this is a big, larger social problem, right? So in order to solve them, we have to have a big social reforms, more like help system, whatever. But when we encounter someone who is actually opening himself and asking for something, and that's a so we can think about the larger social background of that incident, but I think in that moment it's a good opportunity for us to practice generosity. Definitely, that's going to help the person. Whenever you get something that can going to help that person, whether it's going to help him in long run or is a different question. But I think it's more helpful for us to use that opportunity as a moment that we can practice our generosity. So whether that person is going to use that money to buy beer or cigarette or whatever other thing, that's up to him. That's up to him. If he can afford, just do it. Right? Just do it. I mean, yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, you can be more skillful in helping this way. I have seen people giving them food and offering them to buy food. So that's a little bit more skillful way you can do also in the same way. Instead of giving money, they say, okay, I will buy you food, and then sometimes they give food, sometimes they bring them to the shop and buy it. So if you have time, you can do that too. But I think like focusing too much on what's going to happen, how is that person going to use that, is a little bit, beyond our, our control. If you want to just give, just give. Right? Yes.
So we're not really giving, we're not giving for them, we're giving for ourselves.
Yeah, in a way, yes. Yeah. We are practicing generosity, and I mean, I remember. I don't remember the name of the person, but this famous person was robbed in New York City, and then and he was robbed, but he come and said that I'm so glad that I was robbed only one time. How good that I was not robbed multiple times. I was robbed only one time, and secondly, I'm so glad that I'm not the one who's doing the robbing. Right? So, yeah, so why not we give, right, if we can have a chance? Yeah. Yes.
This is unrelated, but
Yeah.
we came to a homeless, like when I lived in DC, we
Okay.
used to go to the homeless and give food during the weekends. So, I mean, it happened several weekends when I was there. So, years after, I was traveling and I lost my purse at the airport. Somebody robbed it, my passport and everything I lost. So I had to get an emergency passport to travel back. Months after, I get a call from the embassy of Sri Lanka in Japan. Said, you'll be happy to hear that we found your bag. So I said, how did you find it? Said, no, a policeman brought it to the embassy. So then they said, a homeless person found it in a garbage can in Japan. And the homeless person gave to the police. So police found all the documents, gave it to the embassy. So I got it back.
Yeah.
We flew back to Washington, D.C. So I was thinking, like, I was feeding homeless, and here in another country, a homeless person came to my help.
Nice.
So, I mean, it was just.
He could have ignored the bag in the garbage can, right? Maybe he was looking some food in the garbage can. He found this
But
purse.
everything intact, camera, everything was in the handbag.
Except money.
Whoever robbed that at the airport took the money, didn't take anything else. So homeless person is.
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Such a nice thing. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. Okay, I think so. Before the end, I would like to give you this special gift. Now I'm going to show you. It was a secret. So it is in the cover. Okay, let me see what is inside. A paper. But this is actually instructions. Don't be disappointed. There's more to come. This is the instructions. Okay, let's see what else here.
A lot of instructions.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, instructions. Yeah, this is the gift you are going to get today. Okay. So you have all the Buddhist term like metta, karuna, mudita with the Buddha statue in the shape of the heart. And this is a sticker. You can hang it in a glass door or even other surface like in your refrigerator, any colored surface. So this will be the gift for you today. Okay. Yeah. So we got enough of them, so everybody can have them. So please come and take it from me. So I'm so grateful to the person who took the time to actually carve out these letters and then prepare everything, with such a care, and then so that will be the gift actually. Yes. Okay, so please, and later we will show you how to stick this. Okay. Any? Okay, now we will do a short chanting and meditation now. Okay, so we will make this opportunity to do a very short loving kindness meditation. At the end of the meditation, we both of us will do our chanting, but we can continue meditation throughout the chanting too. Okay, so we will ring this bell to help all of us to come to the present moment. Let us bring our whole attention to our body, to this present moment. Just take a moment to observe how your body is sitting here, the way you kept your hands, where they touch right now. And what you feel in your legs, how you keep your legs right now. And whatever sensation you can feel with your clothes. With this awareness of the present moment, let us now try to understand and try to feel the inner quality of our loving kindness, inner quality of our mature love, our metta. We all have this inner quality, inner capacity, inner wish, a silent wish for everyone to be well, to be safe. We don't like anyone in this place to get into trouble. We don't like anyone around this area, whoever travels around this area, to get into trouble. Instead, what we have is a silent wish of well-being, safety. Let us bring that quality out. Let us manifest it. Let us articulate that wish. Let us keep wishing everyone around us be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. This loving kindness is not limited to people around us. It can be directed to people and beings in all directions. Let us genuinely take a moment to wish for people and beings in each direction to be well and happy. whoever the people and beings living in the direction that we are facing now, our front direction, whoever living in this direction right now, in the immediate neighborhood in that direction, far away places in that direction, may all of them be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. May all people, all beings living in the direction of our right, everyone living in this direction right now, to our right, from here, all the way to faraway places, may they all be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. May all people and beings living in the direction of our back, all of them living here and all the faraway places in that direction, be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. May everyone living in the direction of our left, every one of them living in this direction right now, near and far, be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful. Let us also take this opportunity to especially wish people who are vulnerable, to expose to coronavirus. Let us take this moment to genuinely wish everyone living in those areas and whoever already got affected by those virus. Let us genuinely wish for all of them. May they all receive proper treatments. May they all develop their immunity. may they all be well, be safe, be healthy, be peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Karaniya manta kusalena yantang santang padang abhisamicca sakko juja sujuja suacho jasamsamutu anatimani santos sakoja subharoja appakichoja salauka utti sampindriyoja nipagoja appagasmo kulesu ananugindo nachakundang samacare kinciyena vignyo pare upavadiyam sukhino akevino huntu sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta eke jivana bhutanti tasavata vrava anavasesa digavai mahantava majjimaransakanukatula diktavai adviktaye chature vasanti avidure bhutava sambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta pero paran nikumbete nati mangite katta cinang kanci vyarosana patiga sanyānānya maññasya dukkha micciya mātāyatāniyang puttang āyusāyeka putta manurakkhye evampi sabba bhutesu mānasam bhāvaye aparimanam mettang ca sabba lokasmin mānasam bhāvaye aparimanam uddham adoca tiviyam ca asaṅbādam avirang asapattam pittang carang nisinno vāsayāno vāyāvatāsamsa vigatamindo etang sating adikutaya brahmamitang viharang idamaho ทิงเจอนุปกัมสีเลวาดัสสนีนสัมปันโนกามิสุวินียเกตังนาหิจาตุกัมเปสียังปุณเรติ เตนะสัจเจวัจเจนะสุตติเตโหตุสัพพะทาเอเตนะสัจเจวัจเจนะสัพพะโลกวินาศสัตตุเอเตนะสัจเจวัจเจนะโหตุเตจายมังคลัง สัพพิติโยวิวัจจันตุสัพพะโรโควินาศสัตตุมาเตภวัตตันตรายโยสุขีทีกายุโกภวตุสัพพะมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพะเทวตาสัพพะพุทธานุภาเวนะสดาสุตติภวันตุเตภวตุสัพพะมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพะเทวตาสัพพะธัมมานุภาเวนะสดาสุตติภวันตุเตภวตุสัพพะมังคลังรักขันตุสัพพะเทวตาสัพพะสังฆานุภาเวนะสดาสุตติภวันตุเต Please come to have blessing instinct and also to get your gift.